Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Politically Correct with me, DK Singh. Jharkhand Assembly election results are out today, and let's discuss which party has lost or gained what. I mean, what has the BJP lost, and what has the Congress gained, and what has the opposition alliance gained for that matter. As it is, it's very bad news for the BJP. I remember 2 years back, until December 2017, the BJP, 71% Indians were living in BJP-ruled states. Today, it's down to 35%. It's a huge setback, and I'm talking about the BJP being in power in states, not at the center. So it's down to 35% today. As we speak in Jharkhand, the opposition alliance of the JMM, the Congress, and the RJD seem to be cruising to a victory. I mean, they are leading on 46 seats in the 81-member assembly, and BJP has been reduced to 24-25 seats, down from 37 in 2014. So what everybody is discussing today is, or what seems to be weighing on everybody's mind, is whether Prime Minister Narendra Modi has stopped being a factor in state assembly elections. Nobody is saying his popularity has got diminished, because we've seen just about 7 months back, he led the NDA to a massive victory in the Lok Sabha elections, with the BJP itself getting three or three seats in the Lok Sabha. What everybody is discussing now, whether the people have started voting differently in states or in assembly elections and in the Lok Sabha elections. Well, if you look at the figures, this argument does not get that validation. Jharkhand, for instance, in 2014, the BJP got 31% vote share. In fact, in this election, it has gone up by about 2-3 percentage points. The BJP may end up getting about 33.7% votes. So it's not that Modi was not a factor or was a huge factor in 2014 and he's not a huge factor in 2019. But yes, we do get influenced by the domination that BJP was having in 2014, and from 2014 to 2018, I would say, in terms of assembly elections, and the erosion we are witnessing. But the fact remains, I mean, if you go by the figures, people have always voted for Modi as the Prime Minister more overwhelmingly and quite underwhelmingly in assembly elections. What we should be discussing today, and coming back to the same point, what I would say in Haryana, for instance, now in the Lok Sabha, 2019 Lok Sabha elections, the BJP got about 58% votes, which came down by about 22 percentage points in the assembly elections. Same in Jharkhand. Our NDA got 55% votes in Jharkhand in the 2019 Lok Sabha elections. It's down to about 33% now. And if you add the votes of All Jharkhand Students Union, which is not an ally, we joined the BJP later, but if you add that vote also, it comes to just about 44%. So obviously people are looking at the Prime Minister differently, his regents in the state differently. Now, their yardstick for the Chief Minister's performance does not take into account what Modi government is doing. And there probably lies the biggest fault in the Modi's and Amit Shah's campaign strategy. I would actually count, say, 4 or 5 factors. 5 big indicators coming out of Jharkhand assembly elections. One, as I said, the BJP seems to be peaking out. Now, in the past 12 months, or since November, December 2018, we have had elections in 12 states, of which only 2 have gone to the BJP's kitty, that is Arunachal Pradesh and Haryana, and we know how it happened in Haryana. There are a couple of other states in Northeast, the Sikkim and Mizoram, which have gone to the BJP's allies there. Otherwise, most of the states are with the remaining 8 states have gone to non-BJP parties. TRS in Telangana, then you have the Congress in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, the coalition government, the tripartite coalition in Maharashtra, you have already seen. Now in Jharkhand. Obviously, a shift in the trend, what we are witnessing post-2014, is not the same anymore. There is some kind of reversal happening. And Modi is not a factor here. You may question his strategy, or actually the BJP president's strategy, electoral strategy, the kind of people who are chosen as chief ministers, for instance, or the objective with which those people were chosen. For instance, one of the major strategies we have been talking for a long time now was the party's decision to field somebody from the non-dominant castes in a state like, say, in Haryana, where you have non-Jata chief minister, in Maharashtra, where you have a non-Maratha, that is Brahmin chief minister, that is Devendra Fadnavis. In Jharkhand, you have Raghuvar Das, an OBC chief minister, though the state is tribal dominated. The strategy, the dominant caste may be Marathas in Maharashtra, or Jats in Haryana, or say the tribals in Jharkhand. But numerically, if you look at the other castes, they are much more stronger. Say in Jharkhand, for instance, tribals constitute just about 26.2% of the electorate of the people. The state has always gone for before Raghuvar Das came, political parties always put up somebody from the most influential community. Now, the BJP tried to reverse that trend, be it Haryana or Maharashtra or Jharkhand, which has obviously not worked. The party was obviously expecting some kind of consolidation of non-tribal votes. That has not happened. Another flaw in the BJP strategy we can talk about is talking about national issues in assembly elections. So we saw how the BJP focused on the invalidation of Article 370 that gave special status to Jammu and Kashmir. That was the major plank of the BJP in Haryana and Maharashtra, which didn't work. In Jharkhand, we heard the Prime Minister, the BJP President and all other party campaigners from the BJP talking about first the Supreme Court verdict on Ayodhya, which paved the way for the construction of a Ram temple there. Then they talked about the Citizenship Amendment legislation which this government passed. And if you remember, this legislation was passed in Parliament, or it was brought in Parliament for discussion and passage just ahead of the third phase of Jharkhand Assembly election. And then BJP leaders kept talking about it in the next three phases. But as the results show us, this hasn't worked. So probably the BJP needs to look at its strategy on that front. I mean, how local issues dominate and how you don't have to be defensive while talking about the performance of your government there. So when I say local issues, it's about local expectations, what the people want you to talk about. So people are not interested in what you're doing in Jammu and Kashmir. People, they are interested, but they're not. That factor is not going to swing their votes. Their voting behavior is going to be determined by what your government has done there. So BJP is somewhere going off tangent in terms of the election strategy. The biggest mistake, I suppose, if you ask me, that the BJP seems to be making is the neglect of its alliance partners. You can call it kind of hubris on the part of BJP leaders. You have been hearing complaints from BJP allies from every state. You saw what happened in Maharashtra when Shiv Sena decided to leave. We saw how the TDP left the NDA earlier. In Jharkhand, for instance, you had AJSU, which was part of the BJP government. It had joined the. Remember, BJP had got just 37 seats in 2014 elections. For the majority, it needed at least 41. AJSC with the 5 seats joined the coalition. Then the BJP engineered defections in Jharkhand Vikas Morcha Prajatantrik, that is JVMP, by the former BJP leader and Chief Minister Babulal Marande. So we saw how 6 of the 8 legislators of the JVMP defected to the BJP. They said they are forming, their party was merging with the BJP. As per anti-defection law, they had enough number, 6 out of 8, there was not an issue at all. BJP could have gone and got Marandi back into its camp, or at least gone for an alliance with Marandi all these years. BJP has not gone. BJP ignored AJSU. Even the smaller alliance partners, say the JDU or the LJP, they all contested separately. They may not have got any seats, or they may not have got any significant chunk of votes. But in the first past the post system, you need, the more you are in number, the better it is for you. Otherwise, in terms of vote share, as I discussed, BJP got 31% in the last election, is set to get over 33% in this election. That doesn't matter much beyond a point. It works completely differently when it comes to, differentiating the victor from the loser. Now the Congress and the JMM, if you put their vote shares together in 2014 and that in 2019, it's almost the same. It comes to about 34-35%. But then they are the winners. And then look at the difference of votes. Difference in the vote share between the two parties maybe just about 2%, 3%. But then the opposition alliance has got about the double of, or is likely to get about double the number of seats that the BJP has won. What have we seen here? If we look at 3-4 indicators, as I said, first is a clear signal or indication of the BJP peaking out in the states. Second is the failure of national issues as a swing factor in assembly elections. Third, the BJP's strategy. And if you want to talk more, we can talk about Amit Shah as a master strategist. We know there has been so much talk about Amit Shah having built a kind of converting the BJP into a juggernaut, an election juggernaut, which can crush everybody or every party which comes in the way. There is so much of talk about his election strategy. He's supposed to be the Chanakya today. But as we have seen in the past few elections, it doesn't work that way on the ground. Yes, the BJP may continue to be a formidable election machinery, but when it comes to the voting choice of people, it's the governance that matters. We have discussed what Jharkhand poll results mean to the BJP, but what it means to the Congress or the entire opposition camp. If you talk to Congress leaders today, they feel like they have dislodged BJP from power in another state, as if they were the drivers of this entire election, which is not the fact on the ground. On the ground, we spoke to many JMM leaders who are frustrated with the lack of participation of the Congress in campaigning. As in Maharashtra or in Haryana, more so in Maharashtra, the local candidates had been left to fend for themselves by the Congress. Rahul Gandhi did campaign, but Rahul Gandhi was there just for 4 rallies. This contrasted with the BJP. The Prime Minister addressed 8 rallies, Amit Shah addressed 11 rallies. So Rahul Gandhi was, most of the time he was travelling abroad, and the Congress machinery was hardly to be seen on the ground. But yes, there's a big message for the Congress here. People are ready to vote for the party as an alternative to the BJP. Their message is, we don't really care about Nehru Gandhi family anymore. Whether Rahul Gandhi campaigns or not, whether Sonia Gandhi campaigns or not, that will not affect their voting behavior. We saw in Haryana and Maharashtra, Rahul Gandhi hardly participated, barely half a dozen rallies in both states together. People voted for the Congress. In Jharkhand, there's hardly any participation by the family in terms of campaigning or in terms of formulating the party's strategy or helping its alliance partners on the ground. The family was hardly there. And still, Congress has done much better than expected. It's leading on 13 to 14 seats. I mean, up from 6 in 2014. So there is a larger message for the Gandhi family, I would say, and the congressmen in general. Message is about the growing irrelevance of the Gandhi family for the Congress's political fortune. Now I'll take a few questions that have been sent by our viewers.
Combining all the issues plaguing India currently, like joblessness, lack of raw materials for Indian industry, etc., will a defeat in Jharkhand result in its demotion to the opposition in 2024?
No, as I said, people have shown very clear distinction when it comes to distinction between the Lok Sabha elections and assembly elections. The assembly election results, in my view, do not actually reflect on Narendra Modi's popularity. The BJP's vote share in these states, say it's Jharkhand or Haryana, from 2014 to 2019 has not seen much of a difference. So it's not that in 2014 when Modi came to power for the first time, the BJP's vote share just swelled. Or in 2019, where he has come back with a massive renewed mandate, the BJP's vote share is going down in the states. I don't really look at these elections as having any bearing on elections in future in 2024. Yeah, one factor I can talk about is, there was a time when you would be traveling post 2014 Lok Sabha elections, when you would be traveling in the states for assembly elections, people would be voting for the BJP blindly, regardless of who the chief ministerial candidate was or could be. They were voting for Modi. Today you realize, as you travel around the country covering assembly elections, that people are judging the chief minister's performance or the government's performance. They are not looking at Modi's performance to take a call on their votes or take a call on the party they are going to vote for in states. If we talk about some kind of dilution in Modi's influence, yes, the message is, we are ready to give you another 5 years. The message in 2019, for instance, seen in the context of today's election, is that, okay, we are ready to give you 5 more years because you had just 5 years to deliver on your promises. We are fine with you, go ahead, we'll give you our votes. But then don't expect us to vote for whoever you nominate in states as your regent. That difference is coming, but I don't see that as indicating much in terms of their voting behavior in 2024 Lok Sabha elections.
Do you think people have gotten over Mandir Masjid question this election in Jharkhand?
Yes, BJP did talk a lot about the Supreme Court verdict on the title suit in Ayodhya, right from Prime Minister Narendra Modi to BJP President Amit Shah. Everybody was talking about it. This issue was expected to generate or to lead to some kind of polarization or consolidation of Hindu vote bank for the BJP, which, as the results show, hasn't really happened. As we said, these big issues don't really seem to be having much impact on the electoral behavior. It's the local issues, the day-to-day concerns of the people, which seem to be determining which side people will be voting.
Has the Modi factor now eroded? Can BJP now not use Modi to campaign in states?
I won't say the Modi factor has eroded. I mean, it depends on how you look at Modi factor. In 2014, Modi was a big factor. In 2019, Modi was a big factor. As I said, in assembly elections also from 2014 to 2018, barring a few states like Delhi and Bihar, the Modi factor was all there. And you assume that people were voting for Modi then and people are not voting for Modi now. I don't subscribe to that because we have discussed the vote share today. The BJP's vote share, say in Jharkhand today, it's likely to be somewhere around 34%. Post Lok Sabha election in 2014, in Jharkhand election again, in the Jharkhand Assembly election, the BJP's vote share was only 31%. So actually the party has gained about 2 percentage points more this time. So how do you interpret that? I mean, it's not that Modi factor was not, or Modi factor was working then and Modi factor is not working now. As I say it, when it comes to voting, people are voting for the BJP in Lok Sabha elections as a party led by Narendra Modi. And when they are voting for assembly elections, they are looking at the chief ministerial candidate of the party and voting on his or her performance. Coming to the next point, where Modi will not be used in future in assembly elections. The Prime Minister will be, of course, will be addressing rallies, but his involvement in assembly elections may be less. There is already a feeling in the party that because local issues are holding sway in assembly elections, if the local issues are dominating the electoral discourse, why to overexpose the Prime Minister in those elections? So maybe in future elections, you will see less involvement of the Prime Minister. So you will have Delhi elections in a couple of months from now. We saw the Prime Minister virtually launching the party's campaign from Rabila Maidan on Sunday. He will be there, he'll of course be there. But yes, you may not see him traversing from one corner to another corner of the state, trying to ensure victory of each and every candidate. BJP has also seen it's the local candidates, the local issues which are determining the results. The Prime Minister will campaign, but the extent of his campaign or his involvement may not be as much in future.
Will Jharkhand poll results have any impact on Delhi elections?
Coming to Delhi, the Aam Aadmi Party did participate in Jharkhand elections. It drew a blank. It doesn't have any performance to show in Jharkhand. I mean, it was a huge fiasco. But yes, when it comes to Delhi elections and the Aam Aadmi Party, where the Jharkhand elections might have some kind of impact is, I mean, that will depend on how Kejriwal interprets the Jharkhand results. Now in Jharkhand, you saw smaller parties coming together and making a dent into the BJP's vote bank, as it seems. Like in Delhi also, although the Aam Aadmi Party seems to be pretty comfortable as it is, but we have seen how the Bhim Army Chief Chandrasekhar Azad, for instance, tried to mobilize Muslims and Dalits at Jama Masjid on Sunday on Citizenship Amendment Bill. Earlier also, he had led a huge protest over the demolition of Ravidas Temple in Delhi. So Aam Aadmi Party chief is trying to kind of get a foothold in Delhi by bringing Dalits and Muslims together, which are pretty numerically significant communities in Delhi. Whether the voters would look at the Bhim Army as an option or not is a big question. I mean, I don't see the Bhim Army is in a position to challenge or to emerge as a significant player. But it's about, eating into your vote bank. So how I look at Jharkhand results and the coming Delhi elections, the link between the two is whether Kejriwal interprets the result as a signal for him to somehow rope in these spoilers or possible spoilers, say Bhim Army chief, for instance. The Bhim Army does not have much presence in Delhi. But you never know, if the Bhim Army contests separately, it may take away 5% vote, 7% vote, which Kejriwal may not like to lose. Whether Kejriwal finds these 5%, 7%, 10% votes significant enough for him to join hands with the Bhim Army Party is for him to take a call on. But as I see it, I don't really see much impact of the Jharkhand Assembly elections here.